Welcome back to CMF Conspiracies, everyone. Tonight we're diving into one of the spookiest legends in American folklore, the Bell Witch Haunting.
Ooh, a classic.
A classic indeed, and one we can really sink our teeth into. We've got chilling historical accounts, skeptical viewpoints, and the story's impact on pop culture to cover.
You know, from rural Tennessee to global phenomenon, it's fascinating how this tale spread.
It really is. Speaking of spreading, how did this story first make the rounds? What are the earliest accounts we have?
Well, there's a journal entry from 1820 by John R. Bell. He describes a young woman hearing a strange voice, and boom, public interest is piqued.
So buzz was already building back then.
For sure. Then, in 1856, the Saturday Evening Post publishes an article about the whole haunting.
They did.
They did, but later retracted it. Shows how controversial and, honestly, how changeable the narrative was even then.
Makes you wonder what really went down.
Doesn't it? But the big one, the source that shaped the legend as we know it, is Martin V. Ingram's 1894 book, An Authenticated History of the Famous Bell Witch.
Ugh. Ingram. Civil War vet. Respected journalist. Adds a layer of, I don't know, believability.
Right. But some folks see it as historical fiction, a blend of fact and embellishment.
Mystery upon mystery. But okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How did this haunting kick off for the Bells? Was it full-on paranormal activity from day one?
Well, it started subtly, about 13 years after the family settled in Tennessee. John Bell sees a misshapen dog-like thing in his cornfield.
I bet he did a double take.
Huh. He even fired his gun at it. Poof, the thing vanishes.
Talk about unsettling.
It set the tone, that's for sure. Soon the family starts hearing knocking all over the house, that classic haunting trope.
Building suspense, making them feel surrounded.
Exactly. But then things amp up. We're talking gnawing on bedposts, choking sounds, gasping. The Bells are terrified.
I'd be losing sleep for sure. So what did their neighbors think? Did anyone believe them?
Actually, yeah. Townspeople rallied around them. Some even stayed overnight trying to experience it themselves.
Talk about community spirit. Though I'm not sure I'd be signing up for that sleepover.
Right, and this is where the name Kate comes in.
The infamous Kate.
The entity claimed to be the witch of a woman named Kate Batts, a neighbor with a, let's say, colorful reputation.
So she becomes the scapegoat, even though there's no real proof.
Exactly. It reflects how societal fears, especially around women who didn't fit the mold, played into these stories.
Fascinating how these things intertwine. But this Kate, she was more than just bumps in the night, right?
Oh, yeah. The stories say she could talk, shapeshift, see the future, even move with, like, superhuman speed.
Okay, hold up. Let's hear about these powers in action.
Yeah.
What did she actually do?
So picture this. Esther Bell, John's daughter, is walking along the road. She sees a woman in black heading toward the house, tries to say hi, but the woman's silent.
Spooky.
Then this woman starts pulling out her own hair, clumps of it. Esther could hear it ripping out.
Okay, that's just creepy. What happened next? Did she just stand there?
Nope. Climbs the fence. 3 kids appear, each climbs a different tree. Then all the trees start swaying wildly as they stare right at Esther.
A power move if I ever saw one.
Mm.
Kate was making her presence known, but she didn't stop at psychological torment, did she? There's the whole John Bell health decline.
Sadly, yes. John starts having these episodes. Imagine walking with his son, suddenly collapsing, body contorting, a shriek from out of nowhere.
Poor guy. That's more than just spooky noises. That's straight up scary.
He believed something was killing him. Whether it was psychological, physical, or something we just don't understand, it's one of the big Bell Witch mysteries.
Absolutely chilling. And then, to top it all off, we've got Andrew Jackson entering the picture.
Ah, yes, Old Hickory himself. This is where things get really debated. The story goes, Jackson, intrigued by the tales, takes his men to investigate.
Now that's a showdown I'd pay to see. So what happened? Did Jackson meet Kate?
As the story goes, their wagon suddenly stops dead.
Some unseen force, I'm assuming.
You got it. A metallic voice tells Jackson they can proceed, but promises a visit later. Bold move, even for a witch.
No kidding. Did she keep her word?
Oh, yeah. They supposedly spent the night. One of Jackson's men, a self-proclaimed witch slayer, thought he could handle her.
A witch slayer? What even is that?
Basically, someone who thought they could control witches, but Kate wasn't having it. Supposedly tormented the poor guy, pulled him around by his nose. Even Jackson thought it was hilarious. More fun than fighting the British, he said.
You can't make this up, but hold on. Is there any proof Jackson was even there?
That's the rub. Despite detailed records of his travels, nothing places him at the Bell Farm. It's likely more folklore than fact, but a testament to how the legend grew.
Even future presidents weren't immune to a good ghost story.
It seems not. But the story doesn't end there. Kate allegedly took things a step further and poisoned John Bell.
Wait, she poisoned him. This is next-level haunting. How did that go down?
John's found in a stupor one morning. They find a vial with a strange liquid in the medicine cabinet.
And that's where the cat comes in.
Bingo! They tested on the poor cat, and boom, instant death. John Bell passes away soon after.
Talk about a dark turn. Kate isn't just messing around. She's allegedly causing real harm.
And then things take another twist. After John Bell's death, Kate says she's leaving, but she'll be back in 7 years.
Talk about a creepy parting gift. See you soon. Did she actually return?
Some say she did around 1828, this time targeting Lucy Bell, John's wife, and their sons.
So even in death, John Bell can't escape Kate's wrath.
It seems not, but this time the family refused to engage with her, and the disturbances eventually faded.
Maybe Kate realized without John Bell as her main target, it just wasn't as fun.
Perhaps. Or maybe she moved on to other spooky ventures. Who knows? But her impact on the Bells and the community stuck.
It's fascinating how these stories get passed down, how they evolve. You know, the haunting was originally centered around the Bell house, but later accounts shift to a cave on the property.
The Bell Witch Cave. It became a focal point in the 20th century, a place for curious folks and paranormal fans to visit.
A tangible location for an intangible legend. What do you think made the cave so central to the story, even though it wasn't in the original accounts?
Well, for one, you can actually visit it. The original Bell House is long gone. Plus, caves just have that mysterious kind of spooky vibe, don't they?
Totally. Perfect setting for a haunting tale.
Yeah.
So the story shifts to the caves, and in the 20th century we start to see new accounts, prophecies even.
That's right. In 1934, Charles Bailey Bell, a descendant of John Bell Jr., publishes a book, adds new details, including prophecies Kate supposedly made, passed down through the family.
Prophecies? Like she could see the future?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now things are getting really interesting. What kind of things did she allegedly predict?
Big stuff. The Civil War, World War I and II, even hinted at Kennedy's assassination.
Okay, now we're talking time-traveling witch. But can we really believe that she could see that far into the future?
It's definitely where skepticism comes in. Charles Bailey Bell's book relies on family stories, not first-hand accounts. Who knows what was embellished or added later on?
Sounds like a good dose of family lore mixed in with the facts.
Yeah.
But that's part of what keeps the legend alive. What other notable events or accounts popped up in the 20th century?
Oh, there are a few. 1937, some young folks near the cave, they see a woman on a cliff. Some of them run off scared, convinced it was Kate.
Classic Kate. Scaring the youngsters. What else?
Well, in 1965, a woman buys an antique rocking chair at an estate sale. She claims a voice, presumably Kate, led her to a hidden pearl buckle in a field.
Wait, a ghost led her to buried treasure? That's a new one. The Bell Witch legend just keeps getting wilder.
It does. It shows how folklore evolves, each generation adding their own spin.
A collective tapestry of spooky tales.
Exactly. And these accounts show how the legend expanded. It wasn't just about the Bell family anymore. It was about the cave, the whole area.
So we've got prophecies, ghost sightings, treasure hunts. Any more close encounters with Kate herself?
There was Bonnie Hainline in 1977. While exploring the cave, she feels an unseen force guiding her, helping her avoid escaped convicts hiding there.
Kate, the guardian angel. That's a twist. Maybe she's not all bad.
Maybe she works in mysterious ways. In the same year, some soldiers visit the cave. One claims an invisible force grabbed him.
Sounds like a playful Kate that day.
And then, 1986, two journalists spend the night in the cave. They hear all sorts of unsettling sounds, groans, thumps, even a scream. They hightailed it out of there before morning.
Can't blame them. Even a skeptic would have to admit something weird is going on in that cave.
Right. There's also the story of H.C. Sanders in the 1960s. Picture this. He's walking toward town after running out of gas. Suddenly, a rabbit comes out of the woods and starts following him.
Okay, now this is getting weird. A stalker rabbit.
Not just any rabbit. Sanders tries to run, but this thing keeps pace. He sits down on a log, and the rabbit hops up next to him and says, "Hell of a race we had there, wasn't it?"
A talking rabbit. Now that's a tall tale.
It is. It shows how any strange event in the area gets attributed to Kate. She's become the explanation for everything unexplained.
The Bell Witch. Personification of all things creepy and unknown.
Exactly. She's not just a ghost, she's a symbol, an embodiment of the mysteries that fascinate and frighten us.
It's wild, right? From a small town haunting to, like, global fame.
Totally. Kate's become a pop culture icon. We can't ignore that.
We can't. So where do we see her influence? Movies, books, music?
Everywhere. Think the Blair Witch Project, not directly about the Bell Witch, but those themes. Isolation, unseen forces, that creepy feeling, straight out of the Bell Witch playbook.
That film messed with my head. All that shaky cam, the sense of dread.
Right. And then there's an American haunting, loosely based on the Bell's experience, plus tons of documentaries and shows, like, remember that Ghost Adventures episode at the cave?
I do. It seems Kate keeps paranormal investigators busy.
For sure. And it goes beyond the screen, too. Music, for example.
Huh.
Merciful Fate, the Danish metal band, they have a song called The Bell Witch.
I knew it. And there's Bell Witch, the doom metal band from Seattle.
Yeah, super atmospheric, dark stuff. Fits the vibe.
Kate really has it all. Campfire stories, heavy metal anthems. It's amazing how one story can have such a lasting impact.
It is. Even if we set aside the paranormal stuff, it's about family, community, fighting unseen forces. Those themes are timeless.
So after all this, after all the research, the accounts, the theories, what can we definitively say about the Bell Witch? Was she real? Was it all made up? Or somewhere in between?
You know, I think the beauty is that we don't know for sure. It's that ambiguity that keeps us hooked. The fact that we're still talking about it after 200 years, that says something about the power of the unknown.
It's true. Even in our tech-obsessed world, we're still drawn to mysteries, to things we can't explain. Maybe that's why the Bell Witch keeps fascinating us.
I think so. She represents those mysteries, that part of the world that's still, well, wild and untamed.
Well said. So listeners, next time you hear a strange sound or see something you can't explain, maybe, just maybe, it's Kate paying you a visit.
Sweet dreams.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for another deep dive into the strange and spooky. We'll catch you next time on CMF Conspiracies.
Thank you for joining CMF Conspiracies podcast. What do you think about the topic we covered today? Comment below with your thoughts on this subject. If you have a conspiracy you wish for us to deep dive into, please send your topic to our email address or leave it in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.